Oh, Biggs is right. I'm never gonna get out of here. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Xerath Prevails. Today I want to show you guys how to use Low-RELIC Nest to solo Mon Mothma BIGGS comps because it works really well. People put this team on defense a lot because Jedi Master Luke exists, and that means that you need to get Mothma up to Relic 5, and you also conveniently have other Rebel fighters that go with her like BIGGS and Wedge, and so you can kind of just slot them together. It seems like a good team, and honestly it can be okay. It can be fine. I don't love it, but it's like a team that you can have. you can have it, but here's the thing, guys. It seems good. It's if you need a filler team, that's fine. But Nest just schools the heck out of it. So let's take a look. I'll show you guys the team comp and like the relevant mechanics, and then I'll show you guys an example and how turret makes things even worse. Let's go check it out, guys. Whoa, why is Mon Mothma here? And who is Hannah? So we've got Mon Mothma, guys, and she calls everyone to assist every time anyone attacks on her team. That's just how it works. So they have a 100% chance to assist each other whenever they use an ability during their turn. So even if they don't attack, they gain an assist. Everyone assists. That's the start of it. Sorry, my throat was a little parched, so I went and got a drink. Anyways, she calls everyone to assist. That's basically what you get from her. I mean, everyone has their health sharing and everything. You guys know how Mothra works, and this isn't really about how she specifically works. She's just kind of the engine who drives the team. Now, Biggs is the culprit, guys. He is the one we're kind of abusing his mechanics. So he's got a couple things going on. First off, and this is important, you want to just keep hitting Biggs with a basic, with Nest, because, and you get into this weird loop where Biggs Darklighter gets 100% turn meter and evasion up for 4 turns. I love the 4 turns. It's like, who cares? Like, 4 turns is a long time. But after surviving any damage from an Empire enemy or a critical hit from any enemy. So, I mean, Nest is going to crit you because that's what she does. That's an important part of her kit. But that means every time this happens, you gain evasion up, which is a buff, which we'll talk about in a minute. And Biggs also gains 100% turn meter. And so you can get into this endless loop where he shoots her and then she counters and she gains 100, she crits, he gains 100% turn meter, and so he shoots her again, and so she gains, she counters, he gains 100% turn meter every time he's gaining evasion up, evasion up, evasion up, all these buffs. In addition to that, whenever he does a basic, he also has a 50% chance to give critical chance up to someone. Or to gain critical chance up, and on a critical hit, he grants a random ally crit damage up, which is cool, but so every time anyone on that Mothra team goes, he's handing out these buffs like candy, as long as he crits, which, I mean, she doesn't have crit avoidance, and he's a grown-ass man who can crit people on his own, so, he's handing out a lot of buffs. So that's pretty fancy of him. Kira is just someone you use as she's like a babysitter for Nest. She hangs out whenever she dies. Her leadership remains, and because Nest is an attacker, she gains 30% extra offense, which is actually pretty helpful. And you can also recover 10% protection every time, whenever you score a critical hit. And you guys will see how that's important in a little bit. You don't have to use Kira. Remember, if you put her Zeta on her unique, it's cool, but then when Kira dies, the unique just disappears. So this wouldn't really help the team, but that leadership does certainly help. You don't have to do this, strictly speaking, but if you want to use, I mean, my Kira's only gear 10. She's like, how much health and protection? Yeah, like, not much at all. She is so squishy, but she it helps Nest with her leadership and then dies, essentially. If Nest is already personally powerful enough to deal with all the things without Kira's help, that's great. But if you want to keep low relics, Kira is great. She does cost you a couple banners, though. So Nest, a couple things about her now. This is important. Basic, she can never miss. So even though he gains evasion up on BIGGS, she never misses on her basic. So, and then she dispels buffs, whatever. This big one, this is the only one that can miss. Doesn't really matter that much. Frankly, you don't use that. This one is also cool, but the biggest thing, guys, so she has 80% counter chance. You don't get an endless loop, but, you can get a pretty fair run at it. She ignores taunt, which, unless someone's taunting and... I don't know. Sometimes she just hits the guy who is taunting instead because it's a viable thing. Now, here's the thing. Whenever an enemy loses a buff or debuff, Nest gains 2% critical damage. Now look at that, or debuff. Somehow I missed that. So her AoE actually helps her with putting out days and everything. Interesting. That's so strange, man. You always learn stuff. Anyways, the important part, the loses a buff thing, is the one that I'm always fixated on. She can't die to this team. She just really can't because of the way her bonus protection stacks. You guys will have to read it on your own. But Nest gains 2% crit damage and health steal stacking. So I think this is her Zeta, or maybe the Zeta is to ignore taunt. I don't remember, but you need this one, guys. This is very, very important. Nest gains 2% crit damage. Who cares about the health steal right now? But 2% crit damage. That's pretty awesome. Because remember, all those, every time BIGGS is going, he's giving out 2.5 buffs, like a 50-50 chance of maybe handing one out. But then every other time he's handing 2 buffs out. So every time BIGGS attacks, and that's also to assist. Well, I guess it's like 1.5 when he attacks, but when she hits him and then he hits her again, like the exchange is 2.5 buffs. So every single time she hits BIGGS and he hits back, he's giving her essentially 4 to 6% crit damage, which isn't a ton, but it's enough to make it work. You note that in the example that I'm going to show you guys, my Nest is only Relic 3, and she's modded for Tenacity, of course. I'll show you guys her stats real quick. Tenacity, her triangle is crit damage. So that's pretty fancy. And then offense on the arrow, if you can. Obviously 6E really helps to be able to do that. You want to boost damage. I'll show you guys what my offense is. So my crit damage 196, and then her actual damage is just over 5k. Now, if you want more relics, obviously that's going to boost her damage. There's no question. But here's the other piece of it, guys. If turret is there, you can turbo boost the team like crazy. So here's the thing, guys. So is unique is whenever rebel allies critically hit, they gain a heal over time, which means if BIGGS is on the same team, he's gaining a heal over time. In addition, whenever everyone else assists, which happens all the time with rebel fighters, he can, it's 70% chance for him to gain heal over time. So he is also gaining a ton of buffs over time. So that also, if you want to turbo boost the team, like this is the best way. So the one I'm going to show you guys is just something that happened to me on my alt the other day, and this is the story that came from it. It's cherry picking a little bit, but I want to demonstrate just how effective even low relic Nest can be in that context, because people put this team down all the freaking time. So let's go check it out, guys. Let's go check it the heck out. Whoa, here we go, guys. Here's the team. So we're facing this squad. You'll note that there's no Baze. Now, Baze makes it more difficult because he's so thick. It's tough to get through him. But, low relic, BIGGS, and Wedge, wonderful here. Keep in mind as well, if your Nest is really low gear and their Wedge is actually like Relic 5 or higher, he can potentially just one-shot Nest if you're not careful. If he's well modded, Wedge can kill her. So just keep that in mind. So I've had this actually really super backfire on me before. So with that being said, let's actually start the fight here. So note that Kira, these are all the characters that I was just showing you guys. well, on my end. So Relic 3 on Nest. And, okay, so Mothra goes, she summons her worthless guy. Kira's dead, instantly. Now, watch, we hit Chirrut back. Alright, Biggs shoots, and we get a hit Biggs. Watch all these buffs, guys. Watch all the buffs as they hand them out. Everyone's gaining the buffs. He's handing out crit damage up. Everyone's getting crit chance up. And watch the heal over times on Chirrut, guys. The heal over times on Chirrut, every time he does a basic, he has a 70% chance of gaining those buffs. And so right now, okay, on Biggs we're doing what, 16k damage per basic hit. And that's great. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fancy. And, you know, we're just, you know, low speed Nest. She's just doing damage. We're up to 17k damage per hit. So it's slow ramping. There's 18k damage. And it takes a while. We're like 1 minute in, and we're still going. 18k still. Every time they're going. But you'll note, I mean, Chirrut hasn't had any of his stuff expire because he's barely taken any turns. Eventually you'll really start to see those continue to rise up. So, all right, ramping damage, 20k damage from Nest, every basic on Biggs. And, oh, we finally get a turn. I guess we'll do a basic on Biggs. Who knew? Who knew? All right, that was 20-something K damage. If only we could dispel the stuff that's on Chirrut, that would be really helpful there. We finally did a counter and dispelled all of it. Now we should be able to start doing some really crazy damage. 30k damage, yeah. We jumped up a ton because of Chirrut dropping all those stacks of healing over time. So, you know, Mon Mothma can revive and everything, and we're already 2 minutes in. We haven't killed anyone, but we're ramping up damage. There we go. 32k on Biggs. Next time Mothra goes, she's going to land. She's gonna revive Biggs, and then we can start the madness all over again. Now, keep in mind, this is, like I said, this is kind of cherry picked because Chirrut is making this so easy, right? I mean, the crazy amount of heal over times that we're getting from him is truly awesome. You kind of got to just gauge, guys. Look at the stats. Remember that Mothra teams share their stats, and there we go, 43k damage from Nest. So lots more. And note too, guys, that eventually Worthless Guy gets promoted, and then he can start dazing you. And it almost doesn't matter. Like, you're not countering anymore on Biggs, but you are able to just, you know, every time you take a hit, like, that's what matters, really. Like, everyone's going to be attacking you, and you know, every time you take a hit, then you're going to be doing even more damage. So, I mean, it's nice to be able to trigger Biggs, but it's not absolutely necessary. Now, all right, so Biggs is gone. We can take someone else out. Do the AoE here real quick. I just wanted to see if that was enough to just one-shot the team. Every once in a while, you can do the AoE and it just one-shots people, but you know, Wedge is pretty squishy here as well. And then Chirrut just dies in one hit. And I was like, man, should we just try to kill Worthless Guy? That'd be pretty sweet. But Mothra revived stupid Chirrut, she's like the engine of their destruction. So, all right, dig out Wedge. We still have a full minute left here, guys. We can just contemptuously end this, and Mothra and Worthless Guy die of sadness. Remember how Kira helps Nest to heal from that protection. So, or, you know, heal protection every time she crits by 10%. So keep in mind, guys, if they have a lot of hit points, if they have Cara Dune, if they have the turn meter squad that steals your turn meter, any of that stuff, guys, Nest is going to be worthless. This isn't a catch-all. She doesn't beat every single Mothra team. She beats Mon Mothma teams with Biggs because you can abuse their interaction, their mechanic of he hits her, she hits back, he hits her again, and they just go back and forth without actual, you know, anyone else even getting turn meter. If it's against the turn meter squad, don't do it. It's not going to work out in your favor. So, you know, Nest is still fun. This is at 6.5 million GP in Kyber 2. Works just fine, guys. People still do this team, and it's not worthwhile. If you're going to build Mothra, build a Mon Mothma team that has good characters. Build the turn meter gain squad. And don't fight teams with Cara Dune, because Cara Dune's attack animation takes for frickin' ever, and you'll time out. Guys, thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xerath prevails.